And we're back. Something about Rift and the game didn't like. I'm very upset about that. I hate crashing on broadcast. I really wish that the broadcast didn't just come to a screeching halt when that happened. Now that's curious as to what crashed Rift in. I can't imagine what made it do that. Huh. Okay, well... I guess if we have that out of the way, we can do some other stuff. Okay. We're going to try it with Kind's Weather activated, which is I have it linked on to the Nexus page somewhere on the in the comments on this mod. It's basically like the perfect weather mod for anyone who's ever been indecisive about which weather mod they should use, because I think it has, I want to say it has 10 weather mods in it. Somebody spent an awful long time on it. You have to, if you do it properly on PC, it's a 5-stack. You put Oblivion Weathers and Seasons on top, Wonder Original after that, the Oblivion Wander patch after that, and then True Storms, and then the Kind Weather's True Storms patch to make sure that you get all the new precipitation and sound files and all the stuff, that all the great things that True Storms can bring that I have never had the hardware to experience, but I'm sure that I would, as an audiophile, I would absolutely love it. I could listen to the sound of rain until I die. Like, however long that is, if I could just hear the sound of rain in the back of my head until I expire from whatever means, like, I will be just a little bit better for it. Okay, so one of the fun things about one of the fun things about having access to the creation kit and the PC version and being able to upload files to yourself like via the PS4 is you get to privately try out a lot of stuff like from the Nexus that just to test its compatibility. This is one of those. Soldier of War created a series of mods for Skyrim that are absolutely just amazing, and I recommend them to anybody. They're referred to as the Great Cities, and for the PS4 version, there's a bundle of all of them except for one, the Great City of Solitude, which I have made a few improvements on. Okay, so this weather mod is a little different than the one that we were using before. The one we were using before had very high saturation values. Yeah, that's how you get color in this game. You raise the saturation. If you raise it too high, the whole scene renders in nothing but red, blue, green, and you've pretty much lost at that point. So, I can't exactly remember what the Great City of Solitude adds to the interior of the city. However, it's true.
Ulfric Stormcloak escaped the city after he murdered High King Tori.
The true wonder of the Great City of Solitude. It's one of the reasons why I felt compelled to update White Solitude by Yuki 233515, because it just, like, if you like Solitude's architecture, the Great City of Solitude just gives you so much more of it. Yeah, see, I'm not sure. I don't think that this particular wall is necessarily there, but Soldier of War did a really, really good job of filling the empty space, and I wish that I could, I wish I had more of this kind of talent. Oh, God, I just put, like, I feel privileged because it's like I didn't do all the hard work to make, to put these, to pair some of these textures together. Yuki did some of that. I just made some updates to try to keep the color the same, but I can still stand in awe because, like, geez, like, these textures look so good, like, and it's yeah. So this city just keeps on going. Like, it's just got so much. It's got this whole extra dock area and stuff. It's like an entire extra city, like, built into the harbor. Oh. Yeah, we've got all this. I so very much wish that this was that this was compatible with the Dreamweaver. However, when you have the Dreamweaver and this active at the same time, if you look off in the distance, you'll see this blacked out doorway just above the water line. The ship will park itself about halfway into that building, and luckily you can still use the the transport map, but it is like it reminds me of the episode of Rick and Morty where Rick teleports, like he teleports some sort of military space station into the middle of into the middle of like an intergalactic prison. He forces them to occupy the same space, and it obviously, yeah, it creates it's quite a mess. Ah. So this mod is not vanilla, or not stock, excuse me. I made a number of world space modifications to this, because normally the fade value on everything that you see around. Let me see. Like, I'll run towards this castle wall and see if anything spawns in front of it to illustrate my point. Okay, so I guess what you should know is that normally when you get out to a certain distance, things start to fade away. Oops, we hit a wall. Now normally I would pussyfoot around showing you, okay, so like this is how far you can get from something before it stops, but that would be kind of cheap. Instead, I'm going to go well outside the load distance for at least LOD1, maybe LOD2, which is a level of texture degradation in order to it produce, like, so LOD textures are these billboard looking textures that replace the original mesh and object once it gets a certain distance away from you, so that the computer memory can save on its resources by not having to show you a full detail object from so far away, because when you render a full detail object much further away, because of the limitations of the game engine, you might as well be using billboards. The problem is we don't have billboards. We don't have access to billboards. We can't make we don't have access to Dyn-Dulod. We can't generate new LOD textures. We can't make new LOD tree lines. We are stuck with certain limitations. However, what we do have is the persistent world space. If this were vanilla, if this mod were made as it was intended to be vanilla, do you see that? Look up into the top left, you'll see this tower. it should be fading. It's not fading. Let me see if I can illustrate it even further. Do you see how none of those extra structures are fading? If this were the stock version of that mod, you would not be able to even see, these objects would be completely gone. They would have faded away. However, if you go into those, if you can modify those items, those static objects directly, that architecture, and change them from being part of the Skyrim regular world space and move them to the persistent world space, they can remain retextured in full detail for as far as you can see it. Results may vary. The distance fog created by the weather will probably start to really fudge some of those details. However, to not have the stuff change is a really cool feeling. And for the most part, the game takes it pretty well. I'm always expecting when I'm in this area of the game to find a big patch of water that has not been properly updated. Oh, okay. So here's something that I can talk about. So your fog distance, or FNAM, as it's referred to in Xedit, not only changes the distance of what's referred to as fog near and fog far, which also is then affected by I think it's power and then maximum. So right now we're using... Oh, right, yeah, because the music comes back every time. I swear to God. And I'm sure that my volume has managed to reset. Okay. So one of the things that that fog distance, or that FNAM also affects, is the near shore transparency of water. As you can see right now, you could, from an OCD perspective, this little bit that I'm looking at right here, this little bit has issues. There's a few ways you can deal with it, sort of. PS4 minus a few of those ways. One of the easier ways that you could deal with it, if you could get new textures, is by using a premium water mod, like either Pure Waters or Realistic Waters. There's also a water mod that is vanilla that you could use, called Ilanalta, that tweaks the transparency. It makes the water look very interesting. I like my water to look kind of cartoony, and it has a much different look to it. But it looks really cool when it's raining. I can't really describe it because it's like water is like 6 layers of like texture stuff, and it's moving. I can't pretend to tell you how the water flow system actually works. I just know how to make it work. I just know how to make it. I know how to fix it, but I don't know how it works. I know how to fix mods that have accidentally used leftover water files from the original Skyrim. The original Skyrim didn't have the advanced water flow system that the special edition has. It didn't have volumetric lighting, both of which we are being treated to at the moment. Then there's also another mod that can help with this type of stuff, and it's called Smooth Shores, and it's also on the Nexus, and it's vanilla, but it requires the USSEP, which I'm not crazy about using because it takes a lot of, if you're already like fussing for space and memory, if you're already pushing your system to its limits, I actually got to be honest, I see a lot of like shore changes that look an awful lot like they were carried over from Smooth Shores, but I could be wrong. Smooth Shores deliberately, like, they very meticulously went through in a lot of places where the water is at, and they hand molded the shoreline leading into bodies of water so that the way that the water meets up with the shoreline like this isn't so geometric, and it allows you to use it allows you to use weather mods that don't have like a water fix, because there is I have released a few ports of what was called the Water's Edge fix for a number of popular weather mods. I haven't been able to port all of them because the PC version of a number of those weather mods, I want to say Obsidian Weathers has a different title, has a different ESP file name on PC, and Mythical Ages, or is it Mythic Ages? Either way, that one that I love, that one that's basically my favorite, and now I can't remember its name. Yeah. Oh, cool. I put in this, I ported over this mod that added poison blooms all over the swamps. I love the poison bloom texture. I'll show you something. Do you see this plant right here? And now look at the texture that's on my that's like across my character's like skin. LOL immunity. It has claimed some victims. That is something. I didn't realize that these things had such a like a magical like aura around them. Okay, well, I've been talking the talk this whole time. Now I will walk the walk. Okay. Now, something that I definitely have been, like, I've been talking about this mod. I haven't published it yet. And now that I have you here, now that I have a video recording, you'll be able to see what the demands on load times are when you hypothetically use a mod to move all 7,000 some pieces of the exterior mountain range into the persistent world space. I think I'm going to pause the broadcast and do a hard boot on the game itself, and I'll be back in 1 second.